It is so good to be here with you today. Thank you for being here, and thank you for bringing your attention with you. That alone is no small thing. Today, I want to talk to you about something I see everywhere. Good afternoon. My name is Patrice Borders. I'm a leadership coach, speaker, and facilitator. And this thing I want to talk to you about, I see it everywhere. In boardrooms, classrooms, living rooms, and sometimes even in the mirror. It's that sense of moving through the day with your head down, getting work done, moving forward, but not really feeling present for any of it. And I call this autopilot. And I have seen autopilot take root in places where people are trying their best. High performers, good teammates, caring leaders, people who look fine on the outside, but feel off on the inside. And I bet you know exactly what I mean. Have you ever gotten to the end of your day and realized you really didn't remember much of it? Or maybe you replied, "I'm fine," when you weren't. Or how about this? You've sat across from a loved one, and at the end of the conversation, you really did not hear much of what they said. I know that feeling, and you're not alone. I started my career in employment law and shifted into human capital strategy. On the outside, everything looked fine. On the inside, I was racing, depleted, distracted, disconnected. And that's what led me here. For over 20 years, I have helped leaders navigate pressure through complexity, change, and conflict. And what I have learned is that those leaders who truly thrive in their personal and professional lives, they know how to come back to themselves. They know how to pause, recenter, and take that next step with clarity. And that's what I want to talk to you about. How to reclaim your attention. How to make that shift that enables you to create an exponential impact. That enables you to come back to yourself, to your people, to your purpose, and the things that matter most to you. And it starts with shutting off autopilot. Autopilot. I know it. I have lived it. And let me take you back to a morning that changed everything for me. It was an ordinary morning, midweek, which meant my husband was traveling. Our daughters were 4 or 5 at the time. I was making oatmeal, pouring it into their favorite bowls, checking email, scanning the calendar, trying to make sure that the day didn't get too far ahead of me before it got started. Somebody was missing their socks, somebody was missing their shoes, a backpack couldn't be found. In my head, it had already traveled to the meeting that I would be heading into after drop-off. My attention had skipped ahead. I was drilling questions, I was preparing my answers, I was there for all the reactions in the meeting. Like I said, it was an ordinary morning, moving in the rhythm of habit. I was holding it all together, but I wasn't there. I was on autopilot. And somehow we made it out the door, into the car, to the school, and parked at the big ginkgo tree. I got out, started unbuckling them from their car seats, and I looked up into their faces, and I could see it. They weren't mad. They weren't acting out. They were just quiet and still. And it hit me. I had done for them, but I had not been with them. And that hot wave of shame took over me. And I realized this is not who I want to be. And that voice that will remind you of that, this is not what winning looks like. That morning cracked something open in me, and I knew I needed to do something different. because the kind of parent I am, the kind of person I am, is someone who's present, who's there in the moment with the people who matter most to me. So the next morning, we tried something different. Again, somehow we managed to make it out of the house, into the car, to the school, and parked by the big ginkgo tree. And so after unbuckling, but before rushing in, I knelt down and I wrapped my arms around my daughters and I held the moment for 20 precious seconds on purpose. I realized that morning I didn't need more time, I needed connection. Connection with my daughters, connection with myself, connection to the moment we were actually in. And that moment introduced me to something that I didn't even have a name for yet: emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the thing that allows us to notice what we're feeling, to make sense of it, and then to pick a way to show up that aligns with who we are and how we want to operate in the world. Emotional intelligence is the thing that interrupts autopilot. Emotional intelligence is the thing that takes us back to our values, connects us to what really matters to us. Emotional intelligence allows us then to have that agency to show up in the way that we want to, connect it with what we value and who we want to be. Emotional intelligence can sound big. And so through the years, I have worked with leaders to simplify it. And I use a 3-step framework that I call pause, process, pick. Pause, process, pick. Pause. Step out of the loop. Notice what's happening. Create space. Process. Feel it. Allow emotion to offer insight. Pick. Pick a way to show up that is aligned again with your values and who you want to be and what truly matters to you. Pause, process, pick. That morning that cracked something open in me, I realized that's what I did. I paused, and I realized that I was rushing past the people that matter most to me. I processed, and I sensed what disconnection can do and what it can reveal to you. And I picked a different way of showing up. I knelt down, I wrapped my arms around my daughters, and I held them for 20 precious seconds on purpose. The reality is, we all have moments like that, where the things that matter most to us and the people that matter most to us are just a little too far out of reach. We feel disconnected from them. And disconnection comes with a cost. On an individual level, when we are disconnected, it shows up as fear, frustration, loneliness. Remember what I was talking about? Looking fine on the outside, but feeling off on the inside. That's disconnection. And disconnection doesn't just stop with how we feel. Disconnection shapes how we lead as well. When we are disconnected, trust erodes and collaboration suffers. On teams, when we are disconnected, teams stop sharing. They stop stretching. They stop showing up with heart. For businesses, when we are disconnected, it shows up as lost innovation, missed opportunities, and slow decision making. Emotional intelligence interrupts that cycle. Emotional intelligence enables us to find the space to connect. And the research supports this. On a global level, when we think about emotional intelligence, it continues to be top on the list of those skills that we need for the future of work. Connected teams consistently outperform in terms of profitability, productivity, and retention. And when we think about the landscape and how artificial intelligence is changing it, it will never replace those hard, essential human skills like emotional intelligence, curiosity, and creativity. Emotional intelligence is what brings us back to ourselves at work and in our lives. So how does emotional intelligence look in the workplace? Let me share a story with you. I had the opportunity to work with an individual who was leading an artificial intelligence effort for her organization. She was thrilled. She was excited, but she was sensing that her team wasn't quite where she was. As her excitement grew, their engagement dropped fast. This was her opportunity to lead boldly, to lead an effort that was going to be transformational. But her team, they weren't coming with her. And she couldn't understand why she was so proud of all the work, and they were not. So we used pause, process, pick. She paused. She stepped out of the loop, and she asked herself, what am I missing? She processed. She felt her excitement, but she also made space to feel what her team was feeling. And she realized that the rush and her momentum had drowned out their overwhelm, their frustration, and yes, their grief. And she picked a different way to show up. She picked presence, not in a performance kind of way, but presence in I am going to be there with you, authentically leadership kind of way. And so in her next meeting, she said to her team, I see you. I see the work that you have built. That work still matters. You still matter. And as we move forward, I want you with me. That moment changed the room. You could feel it even over Zoom. Faces softened, shoulders dropped, and people came back into the conversation. That's what presence does. It creates space for people to feel seen, heard, validated. And that's what she did. She created that space. Pause, process, pick is the shift that allows you to do that. It is the shift that over time builds trust, deepens relationships, and amplifies your impact. Emotional intelligence is that micro shift that creates a seismic shift in how you live and how you lead. And here's the thing. When you pick connection and you pick presence, it doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to do it. When you do it, you shut off autopilot and you turn on emotional intelligence. It is really one singular choice that you can make. And that is the choice to be here, to pay attention, and to respond with intention. And you can do it with 3 simple steps. Pause, process, pick. Thank you.